listening to I'm Telling You. You're listening to I'm Telling You.
Hey fam, welcome back to yet another episode of I'm Telling You.
I'm telling you.
Oh, Ethel's in the house. The green room was effective. This is Philly D.
Mr. Gemini.
Clickety clack, a fact checker, Miss JD.
Yeah, and as always, we love to start the show with please reach out to us. If you want, you can hit all three of us up at ity@directionsinmusic.org or individually
GEMINI at directionsinmusic.org.
bleep blorp. Yeah, dude, freaking Danger Will Robinson's in the house. Or me, Philly D, PHILLY at directionsinmusic.org. Yeah, for first time listeners, this is a 30-year conversation between me and my best friend. Now we got us a fact checker.
This dingleberry over here.
Yeah, right. We got dad quotes, movie jokes. We also just, we have the green room where we hang out with people and do good stuff and drink beers, crack it. Yeah, and sometimes we even get some guests in the house, which tonight we have an amazing man. We had some great conversations. Why don't you introduce yourself, my friend?
I'm not a guest. These two guys are holding me prisoner. I'm in that room. I'm in that room that you can see above the bald guy's head. I'm in that room. Call the authorities. Hello, it's Marc Sheffler from playing Junior on Last House on the Left. I thought I'd shake things up a little bit.
Hell yeah. No, dude, blink twice if you need help. That is appropriate for here.
I'm a prisoner here in Cyberland.
Yeah, dude, he is inside of a little digital box along with Miss JD.
I'm in a little box. I'm actually this big.
Oh yeah, we had some beers, we had some great conversations, which I'm gonna cut right to the chase because honestly, from the time that our dude Steve told me to tell you, I was like, we've talked about Robin Williams a ton of times, especially with the one episode, actually a couple episodes that we had where we talked about how there's this the saddest clown sometimes is the happiest looking clown. You know what I mean? It's like that person who's out in public and just making this big screen. It's like, so he's somebody that we feel very near and dear to because he's just, you can't say enough nice stuff about that guy. But when I found out that you actually had
I knew him well, at a while, we hung out in the same place, same time. I can't say enough nice things about him. I just professionally goes without saying, but personally, just a really sweet guy.
He seems like a guy that's warm to be around. You know what I mean?
There were times we went through a period where we were in the same place at just about the same time, 5 nights a week. He was Robin from San Francisco. This was back in '76 at the Comedy Store. He was Robin from San Francisco, and Letterman was Dave from Indianapolis, and George Miller was George from Seattle, and Michael Keaton was from Pittsburgh. Michael was from Pittsburgh. I'm from Pittsburgh.
Dude, that's right.
We were all we all were like first names and where we were from, right? So Robin and I were not best friends, but we were, like I said, in a form of combat together, and we made a short movie for UCLA students once together. So we got friendly doing that. And then he was doing Mork and Mindy, and I was working at Paramount on a writer's deal. So we were then, 5 nights a week, we were at the Improv. We would see each other at the Improv. So we were friendly, but long before this, before Mork and Mindy, I was at the Comedy Store Sunset one night, on a Saturday night, I don't know, 11:45-ish. And I see him in the back walking around, turning circles. And I said, "What's up?" He said, "Oh man, I got a 12:15 spot in Westwood and I lent my car to somebody and I have no way to get there." I said, "I'll take you. Come on. I'm finished. I got nothing to do. Come on. You were Cantor's, man, Cantor's I'll hit eventually anyway." So I drove him over there and we walked in Comedy Store Westwood. And there were 3 people in the audience. Right? 3 people. And Robin got up on stage and did exactly the same show, or maybe even better than he would have done for 103 people, and gave these people an experience, given his future stardom, right? That if they're alive, they're still talking about.
Right.
You know?
So right. He went down, sat at their table, did his act from the time. I mean, just fucking worked it. Just brilliant. Just fucking brilliant, right? Just completely unabashed. Just laid it out there.
Absolutely.
So we're getting back in my car, and I looked at him and I said, "That was a great show." And Robin was like really shy. He said, "Oh man, thanks. It's just, I just kind of do my best and whatever, And I said, no, not that you could do a great show. Is that you did a show like that for those 3 people." And he looked at me and in the most innocent fucking way possible said, "Well, you gotta." Like, no other reality than that. So I remember getting in my car and like voice said, "Learn that lesson." Learn that lesson. Yeah, man. And so I'll tell you another Robin story. After Mork and Mindy came out, so my dad used to come out and visit me, right? Because once I got rocking and rolling, he couldn't resist, right? He hanging out with, famous people and going to play, right? So like I'm good friends with Frankie Valli, Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. Like I'm really good friends with him, and like for decades. And back in the day, when
one of my favorites.
Yeah, they're great. They're terrific. And my dad used to come out and visit. And I used to remind him, I said, when I was a kid, you really didn't like their music very much. Don't say anything. Don't say that. What do you say? Don't even say that out in the world.
It's like the fucking videotape, right? I got a videotape. Like, hey, you shut your mouth.
Yeah, don't say that. So, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Sorry, I just was tripping on shit. What were we talking about?
Yes. Dude, hey, welcome to I'm Telling You.
My wife is away for 5 weeks, and I got tons of fucking, vape oil, organic vape oil. And
you were
writing.
You were talking. We were talking about how Robin Williams after the show and the
So here's the story. Yeah, I'm back on it now. So Mork. So my dad met Robin before Mork and Mindy and after Mork and Mindy.
Oh, okay.
So he knew both Robins, right?
Right. Okay.
So and Robin, whenever he would see my father, he would start performing the Shakespeare bullshit that he used to do. That was hysterical, but he got used to it.
Yes.
So I'm standing with my dad outside the Improv on Melrose one night, and I see Robin walk from west to west from the Fred Siegel corner, Crescent Heights. He's got something under his arm, and he sees my father, and he says, "Oh, Lord Sheffler, what news of the East, sir? What news? How goes the war?" So my dad starts laughing, goofing off, right? And I'm fucking shaking my head because, again, it's funny, but, not the 8 millionth time you hear it. So my dad says, "What do you have under your arm?" And Robin says, unrolls the People magazine. The first time he was on the cover dressed as Mork, right?
Nice.
And my father said, "Oh, that's great. I have to go out and get one." So Robin, being Robin, pulls out a pen and says, "Lenny, right?" And he says, "Yeah." And he writes, "To Lenny, you're, whatever he wrote, you're Robin Williams, right?" Hands it to my dad. And Robin said, "I can get a zillion of them. Go ahead, take this. Who cares?" So Robin looks at me and says, "I got to go inside." I said, "See you later. Thanks a lot." So we go in. My brother, who lives in Ohio, still has that People magazine.
Dude.
My younger brother still has it.
Bro.
It's like prized possessions. So that's who Robin was. I would, once you stop hanging out, so I went on to writing shows, and Robin became like Robin Williams. So we didn't see each other a lot. But then when we did, like I was working on the People's Choice Awards, writing and co-producing the People's Choice Awards one year, and Robin was on as a presenter. And he saw me, he said, "Oh, Mr. Sheffler," and he just put his arms around me and hugged me,
Fuck yeah,
just
bro.
Sweet guy. just a really sweet guy, just a really nice kind of a guy who.
Well, that was what
if he was.
our conversation was about, though, but he was troubled. Like, and yeah, I mean,
I think he was troubled by the physical, but here's what I think. I have an opinion. It's, worth about 12 cents.
I want to hear it.
Agreed.
Okay. Performers have cycles, right? You know, you age into certain roles as you grow up, and then you leave certain roles behind.
Right.
It's just a natural way it works.
Such is life.
Yeah, it's just the way it works. If you're smart and you want to stay working, you roll with it. If not, you look shitty on film because you're not being who you are.
Right.
So, I think that I personally think that it was a big mistake for Robin to do that second series, that one with Sarah Michelle Gellar, The Crazy People on ABC. I got it. So, and here's what I say. Here's why I say that. I knew a guy who worked on the show on the crew. And I knew him from other shows. He worked on shows that I'd worked on. And he told me before they went into production, he was excited. And he said, "Hey, I'm working on the show with Robin Williams." And I said, "Great. Say hello for me. If you run into him,
You're right.
Send him my best."
Tell Marc says hi. What's up?
So then I see him at the gym, this guy, and I said, "What's up?" He said, "It's not going well in rehearsal. It's just not." He said, "It isn't there." He said, "It's not there.
Like no chemistry, no nothing.
There's nothing." So then I watched like a half an episode. And I thought to myself, boy, Robin never should have done this. So what happened, what I think was that instead of writing scripts that featured Sarah Michelle Gellar and her life and young people and using Robin very sporadically, for little bits, but a lot, theoretically, but sprinkling it so that he's not pressured. Because I think there was way too much pressure on him. Putting him out in front like that, they expected, Marc. They wanted him to be Marc. I could tell by the way they were writing it. They call the show Crazy People. They expect craziness. Well, the guy was, older and not physically capable of doing that. And I think emotionally, I think that show, because he was such a big TV star, big enough to launch a major film career, which is, if you understand show business, trust me, look at the number of people who are well-known television personalities, star actors, that are basically just fourth and fifth level casting in feature films. It doesn't happen very often. You can name the people on your hand.
I mean, to be able to break across that boundary and be really good.
Not just cross that boundary, go from like star to star, right? Like match your position here.
Exactly. From the small pond to the big pond. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very difficult to do. It's really not easy. And I can go through a list of big time TV stars and then say, well, look at their film careers. It's just not the same arena, right? So it's just, you can't. I don't know. I talk too much.
Not at all. That's why we're here.
I get off on these things, and I talk too much.
Dude, but that's exactly what we do here.
Why we're here. Like, that's
because so like I think of cats like so Adam Sandler going from doing just SNL and then breaking out, or the same as like Eugene Levy or John Candy or any of them cats doing
SNL
like
in itself,
and then like
SNL in itself is a landmark for anyone.
Well, yeah, but dude, John Candy at CTV, like people forget about that shit. Like, and dude, that guy was massive.
CTV was the bomb.
Dude, that was the best fucking TV ever. Sorry, I love SNL.
When it was good, it was that wonderful collaboration of great comedic actors and good writing, you know. And it's probably the preeminent launching career. You know, guys that the only reason people leave that show is for film careers.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's the only reason to leave that show.
Right.
If you,
now you're talking like David Spade because he did that. Dude, except for Keenan. Keenan like is sticking around.
Well, I was gonna say Keenan Thompson.
Like I feel
he's got the best career ever. He has a steady job, and he steps out once or twice a year for a few weeks to do a film.
Yeah, right. I do. He's just living it up, man.
That's the dope shit right there,
dude. And he's fucking hilarious. He really is.
And I'm good friends with Marc Summers, and apparently Keenan and Marc Summers are good friends. So, and he tells me he's very good.
Dude, are you shitting me? I love fucking Marc Summers. That guy's dope as
like
shit.
Preston and Steve, and he did some stuff with them too.
Oh, fuck yeah, he did.
Yeah.
That was some good stuff, man.
Marc Summers, that's another like a local hero.
Yeah, dude, another Philly cat. Like that's why we always say calling out Kevin Bacon. We've had multiple episodes where we're just like Kevin Bacon because we know he's a Philly cat. You know, his whole family and stuff. And I've actually seen him and Michael perform as the Bacon brothers at the Electric Factory, which is like the big spot to do it in in Philly. Yeah. And it was like, dude, that was a hell of a show.
Wait,
yeah,
were they headlining or
yeah, it was their show.
Nice.
You got to see Michael because Michael's actually multifaceted music wise. He's actually well trained. I think in like 4 specific. Like he's like bass and trombone,
traditionally
and like,
trained, like
very well,
classically trained.
Well, because they come from a good family, man. Like their father was a huge engineer or architect, I should say, in the Philly area. Like he's responsible for a lot of shit.
Is he a Mason?
I don't know. Is he missing too? Is that what you're?
He's probably a Mason.
He's probably a Mason. I don't know. But yeah, no, I agree with you. When you get the culmination of what's correct, when you're, like you said, you got to ride those waves if you're trying to do your thing. Like you have to have those expectations. I mean, that's why I feel, dude, I mean, Robin, when he played, when he was in Hook as Peter Pan, you know what I mean? Like, dude, when he did, freaking, oh God, why can't the captain of my captain, Dead Poets Society? Like, I mean, that kind of stuff, like even him at an older, like
he's a real deal. He's a talented man. He just fucking.
I mean, comedy just opens the door, I think. Right? I mean, because comedy, I would say, is the hardest, isn't it?
Robin was the purest natural performer I had ever seen. Right? And the fact that I got to know him and we hung out a bit, I could see just how fucking good he was. It just, I mean, he was really, really good. Like, not just he was a fine actor. He was just.
Dude, he would let go. He would get out of his own way and just let it happen.
Back in the day, after Robin started to really plant his feet here, it was a rite of passage at the Comedy Store to follow him. If you walked in and you saw the list on the wall and your name was after Robin Williams, your fucking heart sank through you.
How do I follow this guy?
Yeah.
No, he just take the fucking oxygen right out of the room.
Yeah.
And you had to go through it. You had to be able to deal with it. And that I don't think that exists. I don't think there's anybody around who does that to people.
You know what I would say? Dave Chappelle is, if there's anybody who comes close currently, I would say Dave Chappelle seems to have had that kind of response. And I mean, if you think about it, with his fact that he was just like, hey, we're going to give you all this money. And he's like, fuck this, I'm out. And literally like just bounced. He couldn't handle shit. It's like.
Dave Chappelle, I like Dave Chappelle, but his rhythm isn't the same. What I'm talking about is Robin's ability to unite the audience intellectually.
Well, and he's a chameleon.
Smack him around like a racquetball,
Like he's a chameleon. He can play any character. It's amazing. Like
Mrs. Doubtfire will always. I just.
But okay, Mrs. Doubtfire,
I don't.
But then you can also play a role
Popeye,
as a serial killer.
Popeye, he killed Popeye.
No,
like, dude, when you say Popeye, instantly Robin Williams. I'm just like, yes,
he did,
dude.
He did. I forgot about. I always forget about that.
He killed everything he fucking did. Agreed.
Yeah, so it's a different level, it's just it's a different, and
But he lived for that high though that you were talking about, the acting high, basically. That
the performing, yeah, that's why he you couldn't turn him off. He didn't turn
have
off.
an off switch, right?
I ran into him one afternoon at the Paramount lot. We're both walking on the lot. So he said to me, "Hey, you're gonna be at the Improv tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." He said, "You want to have dinner together?" I said, "Yep, we'll have dinner." He said, "What time?" I said, "I don't know. Leave here 6:30, 7 o'clock." He said, "All right, see you there around 7. Okay. So I go to the Improv, sit at a table, walks in pretty close to 7-ish, maybe a little later. Comes over, sits down, see him here. Okay. So waitress comes over, takes our order. We have a drink. We're talking. He sees somebody at the bar. He said, "Listen, I'll be right back. I got to go say hello." I said, "Bye." So the place starts to fill up, and I see him, and he's this way and that way, and food's coming. And he's this way, and he's in there, and he runs in the showroom, and then he's out, and he's back, and he's coming around. And so pizza's on the table, salad's on the table. He runs by, says hello. He said, "I haven't forgotten." I said, "Oh, I'm sure you haven't." And he runs around. Eventually, he's just not there anymore. He leaves. He's gone. So I said to the waitress, "I'll take the check." And she says, "Nah, Robin took care of it." So
that was dinner with Robin.
I mean, hey,
you couldn't.
But he was I'm telling you, he was
like a wind-up monkey. He's
a good man. He was a good guy, solid guy.
Yeah,
I mean, we went through the strike together, the comedian strike, and we're all part of that.
Oh, when was that? I remember that. When was
79.
Dude, like that was. It was like,
yeah. And Robin was out there. Robin was out there with the rest of us, but he wasn't Robin then. So
yeah,
that didn't come to. So yeah, but he was right out there with it. He was just one of the guys.
Dude, I mean, that's you have to. This goes back to a conversation we were having in the green room where you were talking about where it's your aim. I called it, my vision, but it's when you have a clear sight of what you're doing, who you are, you lean into it, and it's like, this is who I am, and I'm going to be me, and that's like that's all you're going to get. And to live in that kind of a mindset, to just really just give your all always. I mean, that.
Well, the Comedy Store and the Improv were two different places, right? I mean, obviously two different physical places, but vibe-wise, they're two different vibes. But Comedy Store, Mitzi ran that place like, like a benevolent house mother, but still the boss. Like, the one thing I can tell you about the Comedy Store and that era that I was in, that class of 77. Once I got there and I became a regular, because there's a process that you go through, varying length. I was very quick, actually, but there's a process you go through to become a regular.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it only took me 3 weeks, 3 times there. So
I've seen plenty of documentaries. Like, I've heard enough stories. Like, I don't know personally, but from what I'm like, agreed.
Yeah. So I didn't waste. That's aiming my. All right. Here's an example. I'll digress and I'll give you an example. The way I became a regular. The way I became a regular. I had done a bunch of stand-up in New York in the Catskill Mountains because I was a comedian London Lee's road manager for about a year and part of his act. So I had been on stage doing stuff for a while and had done, by the time I got to the Comedy Store, I had done maybe 150, 200 club dates in and around New York City, right? All the mountains of Jersey, Philly, all these places in London. I became part of his act. So I tell a script and moved to California, and I'm sitting with my agents at William Morris, and they say, well, we know you did some stand-up. Do you want to do stand-up here? I said, yeah, sure, why not? So they said, well, we'll call Mitzi at the Comedy Store. So as a favor to William Morris, Mitzi gave me a time spot on Monday night, on open mic night, right? She wouldn't make me a regular because she didn't know me and didn't have any, you know.
Yeah, she's got to vet you, of course.
Right. So I didn't bother me, but they did give me a certain time, you know, so I wouldn't have to stand in line, and you know, I had 5 minutes, and that was that.
Okay.
So I went to the Comedy Store like 2 weeks before I was supposed to do it, and I watched Tim Thomerson, Steve Bluestein, and I think Skip Stevenson or George Miller on the same set, on the same show, and I nearly fucking quit. And I said that's it, you know, because it was completely different kind of comedy than I had been doing in New York. It was, you know, I'd been doing kind of like Catskill Mountain-ish comedy, and because that's what I was doing.
Right,
and this is, and I knew this shit that was never, it was going to fall flat on its ass here. It was never going to work.
Yeah, right.
So I wrote another 5 minutes in time, went on stage the first time, and it worked well. Everything worked greater or lesser degree. Most of it was my fault for not knowing how to perform it.
Well, because you're damn near living it, because you literally just thought of it and like, all right, you formulated all right, let's go. I got this.
Right. Yeah. So I wasn't worried about it. So then I went back home and fixed it and tightened it and switched some shit around. Went back the next Monday, same time, and it was exponentially better. Right. So they said, please come back again. So on the third night, third Monday night I was there, the room had a vibe. The original room had a vibe, and Mitzi was in her booth. She was there to showcase somebody else, right? So I had like a 10:30 spot, which is prime time. You know, if the room's going to jump, it's going to jump at that time. So sure enough, the 3 or 4 comedians on before me were pretty good, and the audience was about here when it was my time. So my experience in the Catskill Mountains, I said, all I have to do is not lose them. They're here. They're going to stay here. It's early in the evening. They're going to stay here. So I went out, and every fucking joke worked like better than it was just like that night. And I knew that the audience was juiced. So, personally didn't take it, any patting myself on the shoulder.
You're like,
but
you fucking killed it. Like, I fucking killed it, bro. It's like, no, dude, you did your job, right? Yeah.
Take nothing personal.
Yeah. What I did was I squeezed every fucking laugh out of that 5 minutes. There was dust on the stage when I left. There was joke.
Nice.
It was like nothing there. It was just out. So I come off the stage, and I see the audience is applauding me. Like they're still applauding. And I see Mitzi sitting in her booth, and I said, "Oh, fuck this!" And I walked up to her and I said, "Hey, Mitzi, does it have to get any better than this?"
Ballsy.
And she looked at me and she said, "All right, Marc, call in for spots." And that was a regular. That was it. I wasn't gonna, all due respect, I'm a Pittsburgh street kid. I don't, ass kissing ain't in my DNA.
Yeah,
so
right. Yes.
you're not that close. So I find a way to just say to myself, what the fuck? I just sold a script. I have an agent. So fucking what?
Hey, you're big balling, man. You're like whipping it out, throwing it on the ground. You're like, here, check it out. Yeah, what are we going to do about this? All right, great. See you on Tuesday.
And she was great. She was always very nice to me. And I met a lot of great people there, just the first night I was there, I was so nervous. My first night, it was like a Tuesday night, and I at like first or second spot after the MC, like real early. Went in the back of the Comedy Store parking lot, and I'm smoking a joint. And George Miller comes walking down the back side walkway towards the back entrance of the store. And his nose, I start smelling.
Is that reefer?
Yeah. He comes over to me. And he says, "Is that pot? Is that pot you got there? Is that pot?" and I said, "It is." He said, "Can I have a hit?" "Oh boy, I really got hit. Can I have a hit?" and I said, "Yeah, sure." So I handed it to him, and he smoked it, took a hit, and he holds out his hand, hands me back the joint, and says, "My name's George." I said, "Yeah, I know who you are." And we shook hands. He said, "You a comedian?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, I said, "Tonight's my first night. I'm on at like 9:00. He said, "Oh, you'd be fine. It'd be fine. There's nothing here. It's great audience. It's great. Can I have another hit?" And
fucking like Snoop Dogg. I just quit buying this the other day.
I said, "Yeah." He takes another hit, and he said, yeah, you'll be fine. And I said, "You like the weed?" He said, "Oh yeah, it's great." And I said, "Yeah, I get it all the time." He said, "Oh, we're gonna be good friends. We're gonna be really good friends." So I'll show you it's like, I hate to sound like melodramatic, but it is sort of like walking into history. He said, "Come on, I'll introduce you to some friends." So he looks to his right, and he sees this old beat up pickup truck with Indiana license plates on it. And he says, "Oh, come out. Yeah, my friend Dave's here. He's from Indiana. He was a weatherman. Like, he believes he's a comedian. He wants to be a comedian. He was a weatherman. Come on, I'll introduce you." And I walked into the back doors of the Comedy Store, and waiting for me was like a handshake from David Letterman. The first time I met Letterman. I mean, when I met him. So it's like, you look back and you say,
dude,
there are these moments. There are these fucking moments.
But see, but as you just spelled out in that single occasion, like, dude, how epitomal for so many things, and like that you can't write this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing that we love doing here, like trying to get like that rawness of the conversation. It's like, dude, these kind of stories. Like, you can't just be like, "Oh, this is how it played out." I mean, that's like some Shakespearean shit on another level. Like,
my name has been on the wall of the Comedy Store for 40 some years, right? I'm one of the original guys. I'm an original paid regular. And my first name is spelled M-A-R-C, but on the wall, it's spelled M-A-R-K. And the reason I never corrected it was I never said a word to Mitzi because I didn't want her to ever think it was a wrong decision to put my name there. I didn't want to. Remember I told you early on, like bullshit.
I get that.
I'm willing to accept that. Everybody knows, I just
legally change it.
There.
It's no big deal.
Hey, Sab is gay. I can live with it. We're good. Yeah, no,
live with it. I can live with it because it gave me so much experience in my life that it was the result. I mean, it was the conduit and the place where many good things in my life happened, from meeting a manager there to the multitude of women that I met along the way.
That's honestly so. All right, if I may, good sir. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Let me tell you something, man.
You go ahead, please.
I was up on that stage. I was a regular there, not for like 2 weeks. And I looked out one night and I thought to myself, if I stay doing this shit on this stage, I will never have to go to a singles bar the rest of my life. I can just do it right from here.
So this is one of the things that we can all agree, us between me and Gemini and like JD and stuff, is the fact that like we're very much, like you said earlier, your aim, your focus, your thing. Dude, what are your, because I love this story, dude. This was dope as shit. Your 3 goals and how you have obtained them, and are like you're rocking your best life. If you could, please, good sir.
Well, when I left college, I had my 3 life goals firmly in place. Okay. I had the 3 things that were the most important to me in place. I wanted to smoke as much weed as possible. I wanted to sleep with as many different women as possible. And I wanted to make just enough money to afford the weed and the women. And now I look back on my life and it's crystal clear that I have greatly exceeded my own expectations.
Bro.
So there.
Like, dude, when I heard, I was just like, dude, this is my guy. Like, I identify so hard with this dude. Like, dude, oh man, it was. Because we only had like a 15-minute introduction, and I mean within those like couple, I was just like, this is the fucking guy. Like, yes. Where do I sign? You got a dotted line? Where's this shit at? I'm gonna take care of this.
I'm like, bro, I'm a writer. You know, like I need this. This is a tax write-off, right? I'm just saying, like, this kind of comes with the territory, you know? I mean, thank God it's not something crazier.
Dude,
I'm just saying.
But dude, so I had no.
I don't mean no harm.
I had no clue that you have this much extensive like comedic background. I mean, I would say for your writing stature, I would assume something to that degree, but you know what I mean? Like that's to have that kind of experience, as well as knowledge.
I was on stage at the Copacabana as part of London Lee's act when I was 20 years old.
Dude, are you shitting me? Like, dude, who can say that?
Well, he can say that.
I know. I mean, besides him,
I can't say that. I know I can't say that.
Dressed in a fucking tuxedo, standing there doing stand-up lines with him.
I could say it, but it wouldn't be true.
100% true. Yeah, 100% true.
Bro. Yep. Like, dude, between the fucking, I mean.
You don't even know.
Dude, right? The Three Stooges, fucking.
That's what I mean. See, remember I told you earlier that this weird shit happens to me, like this, like larger than life shit happens to me.
Right.
I'll give you one. I'll give you a fucking one. You'll enjoy, hopefully.
I mean, up until now, it's been kind of boring. I'll be honest. I don't.
In my entire 50+ year show business career, I've only been hit on by one gay man.
What? No.
However,
I'm going to call bullshit.
No, it's true. I'm telling you, by only one gay man. However, the one gay man who hit on me was Liberace.
I was going to say it was fucking Liberace. Dude, bitch, he hits on everything.
Yo.
Wait.
That's even high. I'm just saying.
What? Yeah, you have to say something?
What's that?
No, yeah, what'd you say?
I said that's aiming high. I mean, that's.
You know what I mean? Like, that's bragging rights.
Here's the story. I was writing interstitial lines, which are lines that singers say between songs for Engelbert Humperdinck. I did it for like a couple 3 years. Okay. So we're Humperdinck's at the MGM Grand for like 2 weeks. So he flies me in from LA to hang out with him and go over the lines, right? So
hey, what are you doing this weekend? Fuck, no, come out.
No, listen. He was always good to me, paid me well, treated me well, just was really, really cool with me all the time, 100%. So we're in his dressing room, which is like a suite, a giant suite at the top of the MGM Grand between shows. And this is like, what year is this? This is like 1983, something like that, 1984 back then. It's a big star, huge star. And we're partying in his suite. He's in a back room. So it's some guys from the band, his manager, Harold, and his conductor and some other people. All of a sudden, Humperdinck, door pops open, Humperdinck comes out, and he's wearing a white terry cloth, like a blindingly white terry cloth robe. And he has a cross, a gold cross around his neck. It's like life size, like Jesus himself could actually hang on this cross. That's how like again, I didn't know if it was a cross or a sword, to tell you the truth. I didn't know. He his booming voice. He said, "Everybody out, but Sheffler." Right. And I turned it. Everybody looked at me. I said, "You better put on a lot more than that robe." And yeah, I was the funny little Jew in the room, except for Harold. But Harold was a manager, so it was totally got away with it. So everybody leaves. So I said to him, "What's up?" He said, "I don't want to do the second show." So why? Okay, don't do the second show. He said, "Wait." He said, "I need you to write me an excuse." You're a writer.
What?
Yeah.
I said to him, I said, "Are you fucking serious?" He said, "Absolutely. I have to know what to say to them." I said, "How's this? Dear MGM Grand." Love it. He said, "Please excuse Engelbert in the second segment."
Right.
I can't even.
Because he has a sore throat.
Oh.
Humperdinck looks at me and goes, "That's fucking brilliant."
I mean, it's not a bad idea.
And I'm here for you. So he calls back Harold. He calls Harold in. He says, "Harold, guess what? I have a sore throat." So then he coaches it with the hotel, puts off the show, and then he says, "I've ordered a bunch of limousines for us. We're going to see Liberace." You ever seen Liberace? I said, "No." Amazing show. Him and 700 little Mexican boys. So anyway,
It's like fucking harem or some shit.
So anyway, we go to where I think that was at the Hilton. So we go to we're all piling these gold limos that the MGM Grand put up for us, and we go over to the Hilton. So they take us down to the seats. They had a whole row taped off for us. We sit down, we watch the show, and it really is on stage Liberace with pearly, diamondy, glistening pianos and 700 Mexican young men of various ages. Okay.
Dude, the imagery in my mind is...
In today's climate, he's not doing that same show. Just trust me.
That wouldn't fly.
It's it's him and Speedy Gonzalez, and that's fucking it. That's it. So about 5 minutes before the show's over, the security guards come and they take all of us and they walk us down into Liberace's dressing room. Now, he was with that guy, Scott Thorson, who Matt Damon played in the movie Under the Candelabra, right?
Oh,
I knew Scott Thorson from the fact that I knew Scott's brother, who was in the picture frame business. A friend of mine owned a big picture frame store in LA that I used to hang out in every now and then. And Scott used to come with his brother. So I knew Scott like from a whole other place. So we said hello to each other and we're talking, and we hear over the loudspeaker that the show's over. It's bows and then fake bows, and then bow. Then all of a sudden, boom, show's over. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So Scott, at this moment, Scott Thorson goes into a gear where he mixes a gin drink, like gin and soda or gin and tonic or something, short one. And he takes up a position like those mail carrier things in movies where you like mail, they grab the mail, those things. And Liberace, the door to the stage, door flies open. And Liberace, there he is now in a red and gold silk lame caftan, like a fucking actor, right? And he grabs, without even saying hello to Scott, he grabs the drink, right? It just goes right into his hands, like perfect fucking height. Scott, like brilliant. It was just right on the height. And he comes over, he sees Humperdinck, and he goes, "Oh, Enge, oh, Enge." And he's air kissing Humperdinck, and Humperdinck is a tall guy. He stood over Liberace, and he's looking at the rest of us, kind of like this, right? So now he said, Liberace says, "I want to meet everyone. I want to meet everyone." So Humperdinck said, so we're all getting like a receiving line, right? We're in a line, right? So Harold, he says, "This is Harold Davidson, my manager." "Ah, Harold, I've heard so much about you. Ah, you're just brilliant. You're doing wonders."
Dude, I can. You're fucking painting the word picture so hard right now. I appreciate you so much.
But so then he goes to the next guy, and he said, "And this is Richard, my conductor." "A music man. You're after me. After me. Oh my God, a music man. What's your piano? Well, we're brothers, maybe sisters." Stop, right? Then he gets to me. And before he says anything, he looks me up and down. Now remember, I'm 28, like 28 years. Yeah. Oh, wait, how old am I? I'm like in my early 30s. Yeah, something like that. But skinny and,
Good genetics and all. We got you.
Yeah. And he looks at Engelbert and he says, "And who do we have here?" And Humperdinck looks at me like he knows he's going to give it to me right now. And he says, "Why, that's Sheffler, my comedy writer."
My God, nice.
And Liberace goes nose to nose with me. And he says, "Well, I just love comedy writers." And I said, "Well, you can back the fuck up because I'm not that funny."
Yeah.
And everybody, like there was this moment of like shocked silence. And then everybody just started laughing.
Fuck yeah, man. Dude, hey, don't back down, bro. Don't back down.
No.
What broke the silence though? Was it hard to tell?
Yeah, that's a Las Vegas Engelbert Humperdinck Liberace story.
See, awesome. Dude, and I grew up, I was born in Spain, but raised in Cali, like SoCal specifically, like out from San Bernardino County and stuff. So for us to go to Vegas was like, it was a couple hours ride. So we would go to Vegas like all the time. So like to me, Vegas is like second home. So I mean, dude, I have my own pretty good, I've shared a couple of my Vegas stories, nothing crazy, but like.
Sure. If you had easy access to Vegas, I'll bet you do.
Well, that's because of the rule, though, right?
Well, no, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I mean, dude, but I've shared a few of the stories. I mean, the ones that are easy enough to censor that it's like, all right, I can share this one because I don't have to redact pretty much anything. I can change a couple of things and we're good.
Yeah.
Dude, no, well, no, specifically being like,
you're making a lot of sound.
Well, because so for me it was like early 80s Vegas shit. Because I've been going there since I was freaking 6, I
don't know. You've never told me these stories, so I don't.
All right. So
there's a lot of stuff you're withholding, I think, from the group.
I was 8 years old, New Year's Eve in Vegas on the Strip, the first time to be able to like drink champagne while looking at naked boobies. Like that's my interest.
You were 8?
I was 8 years old. It was my third time in Vegas, and I'm out on the Strip on New Year's Eve for the flip of the clock, and I'm like sipping on champagne, and like there's naked boobies just all around me, and I'm just like, this is pretty dope. This is how you roll in the new year.
Male or something?
What was that?
Like, were you like a savant whale for the hotels? You know what that is? You know what a whale is? It's somebody who has a lot of money.
No. It was so my parents always wanted to like. My father was he's a 26 year Navy, like, I mean, dude, he's the fucking man. Like he did his duty and did all that shit. And he was like, I love him for that. But because of that, he's traveled. Again, I was born in Spain. I mean, I was technically supposed to be born in like freaking, Guantanamo Bay kind of shit. But, it takes a while to get papers to go through and stuff. And so like in the interim, my parents stayed in Spain, but no, like I've just always been taught like respect, appreciation. I mean, so with the idea of like, you have to know other things. So, I mean, having that travel experience, they pretty much raised me with it. So it's like, I'm used to have seen the world, and it's like, so I've had very limited censoring for the input of my life. Like, dude, I was 9 years old the first time I was in Tijuana and found out what a donkey show was. This is not a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to my life.
I didn't learn
this
that
explains
lesson.
a lot of shit with me, right? Like, this is why I'm so twisted. Hey, size K, man. Hey, nobody's
learn
looking.
that lesson at age 9. No.
Dude, yeah, no. Welcome to Tijuana. Like, what's up? So yeah, for me, again, 8 years old on the strip, seeing
Tijuana.
champagne and boobies, not that big of a deal. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's a Saturday morning, bro. It's just how we roll.
Tijuana.
Some people it is.
No, I don't want to.
Hey, it's like, go to Tijuana now though, because I mean, I was just out in San Diego, man. It's like, while it used to be that thing where it's like, hey, you want to go to Tijuana for the night? Like, fuck it, hey, let's jump the border, bro. And like, you just go over, drink, have a good time, and then come back. You don't do that shit now, man. Like, that's just, it don't happen, bro.
Wake up in a bathtub somewhere.
If you wake up
at all. Yes, old man.
Oh yeah, I say it's a different world now. Like, I mean, I don't get me wrong. Like, I love California. I spent 12 years, almost 11 years. I spent 11 years of my earlier childhood there, and like
11. Was it 11?
Yeah, I was I was almost 13, and it was just after 2, so it was like 11 years was my earlier
12 years. We'll call it 12 years.
No, 11, bro. I'm a solid 11.
Make it 12.
It's 12, and you'll fucking like it.
You will make it 12.
Splash the pot the fuck I like. But yeah, no, I very much enjoyed having, like, growing up in a Mexican barrio as like my lifestyle. I mean, the shit that I've seen, like, dude, I mean, to say that, I was 9 in Tijuana, and like, to know what like making salsa verde is, because abuelita showed you so many different times, and like, you know what I mean? Like, to say that that's my life, dude, I fucking love it, bro.
I can run, but not because I'm in track.
Dude, hey, I was the fattest and the fastest, because it kept me from getting my ass beat a lot, I'll be honest.
Hey, Gringo.
Dude, no, hey, Blanquito. Dude, oh yeah, no, dude, like Maricon, like, dude, it was like, yeah. But when they started calling me like Wedo and shit, that was dope,
That was
bro.
when you knew you made it.
That's when I didn't have to like fucking fight every day. At least now it was like, hey, we're gonna go beat this kid's ass. You want to come with me? But like, no, I'm cool. I'm gonna ride my bike. I'm good. Like, all right, man. Hey. And then like fucking take off, and no, we're all good, bro.
Well, cool, yo.
Hey,
Thanks for the offer.
Yeah, I know. Hey, over here. Hey, we're all good, Spider.
Sounds lovely, but
Dude, that's literally what you could have said. I'm all good, Spider, and it still would have. Yeah. Say, hey, I'm all good, Spider. Hey, all right, something. Hey, I'll catch you later, bro. Yeah.
You gotta wait for me.
So,
I know you gotta wait for me, eh?
Mark, I know that throughout your career you did acting, you did comedy, and you did writing and all this other stuff. So what led you to actually get into writing and switching over to that side?
It kind of happened accidentally, or sort of in a plan. Last House on the Left, when it was out, remember those 3 life goals I told you about that I had?
Yes.
Well,
Pussy, money, and weed is what I heard.
Yeah. So right. So
I mean, to put it bluntly,
Well, I think just the two, but the ability to maintain that,
yeah, pussy, money, and weed.
which requires a household and all that.
and make no mistake, those are goals.
Yes.
So
No
I was
judgment. It's a judgment free.
I was experiencing what it was like to be one of the 4 stars of a top 10 movie in the United States, right? So I got sent back to Pittsburgh to do publicity because the film was opening there. And a half a dozen girls from my high school graduating class, at least a half a dozen, if I, who a scant 3 years earlier wouldn't give me the time of day, were now offering me a whole lot more than the time of day. And,
Know what I mean?
Nudge,
and,
Nudge, wink, wink.
I accept it in certain situations.
when the mood struck.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
only human.
And
I'm not made of stone.
And while Last House had a national life, that pretty much kept on going for me, right? Because I was part of the movie. But since it took, it just kind of dropped off after the thrill went away, and so did that part of my life. I then became just another out of work actor. So it was desolate. I had nothing to say to anyone. Just, it was like, there was like a cocaine high being in Last House and being that visible. And then you became like invisible again. And I was just 21 years old. So I didn't have any experience with this dynamic. So one night I was at a party in Manhattan, in New York City, at somebody's apartment. And over by the snack table, I see this guy who kind of looks, kind of normal, just looked like me, just regular guy, nothing special. And he's sitting there next to this absolutely stunning fucking print model looking girl. And she is just wrapped up in whatever he's saying. So, under the guise of wanting some snacks, I went over and listened to what he was saying to her. And he said, yeah, well, my agent is in Los Angeles and I'm just tweaking the last draft and I have a little more character work, but all the arcs seem to be okay. And seems to be that the progression of the story is right. And I think, then I send it to my agent, I'll be in good shape. And this girl was just like fucking wrapped up, and he left with her. I thought to myself, I could do that. I could tell girls I'm a writer. Okay, so I went out and I bought a bunch of books on writing, on screenwriting, television writing, and I just read them. And I started going around to bars and parties, and that was my thing. And as it progressed, and as I did it, I'd add stuff, and then I'd take away stuff that didn't seem to work, and I'd add more stuff, and then suddenly I had like this really solid rap that was working constantly. So then I get an audition in Lee Lacey's office for a commercial, right? That director I told you about, who did the Mean Joe. So I'm in the reception area and I'm hitting on this beautiful actress, and she's got it. She's like wrapped up in it. I'm a writer. It's just, I do a little acting on the side, but I'm basically a writer. And friends with the director here called me in a special, good friends.
Yeah.
And
name drop.
So I tell this, do this rap, and this girl starts giving me her phone number. And then I feel a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and it was Lee, the director, the guy who owned this company, right? He said, could I see you for a second? I said, yeah. He said, listen, man. He said, I overheard what you were saying to that girl. And I said, yes. I want to see that script when you're finished.
Nice.
I said, Lee, because you always treat me really well, and I think you're a great guy, and I consider you a friend as well as an ongoing intermittent employer. I'm not really writing anything. I just do that to pick up girls. And he leaned into me and he said, "Is it working?" And I pulled out the girl's phone number. I said, "Oh yeah, it works all the time."
Yeah, how do
He
you
said,
like that?
"Then young-
apples, yeah.
He said, "Then young man, you're a fucking idiot." I said, "Why?" He said, "Marc, if you can get women to take their pants off just by things you're saying to them, imagine what would happen if you actually wrote that script that you've been bullshitting your way through." And, being 21, I looked at him and said, "Never really thought of it that way."
Yeah, dude.
So
Dude,
what happened was
is just what people need.
I took a while to write that, because I guess this event happened, like I was like 23, 24 when this happened. And then like a year later, 26, I gave it to him. And he took it, read it, sent it to his agent in Los Angeles. I don't know, like a month or 6 weeks passed. He called me up and he said, "Well, looks like you're moving to Los Angeles." And I said, "Why?" He said, "You sold your script." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "You're a working writer now. Pack a bag."
Yeah, right.
That's how I moved to LA.
Dude, that is awesome.
With the job already. Yeah. Oh,
yeah, I know.
as usual.
As we get into it and
And that's how I became a writer.
and that's a great way to end the show.
That's how I became a writer. I know it's not normal, but that's the truth. That's how it happened.
Dude, and that's amazing. Yeah, Marc, thank you so much. This has been a
great
phenomenal
conversation.
experience.
Definitely have to have you on again.
Oh yes, please.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, we will definitely have your people call my people. We'll do lunch, all that good stuff.
I have no people, man. My people are on vacation right now.
Fuck them. We're still going to go to lunch. We're going to get tequilas and tacos. I'm going to have margaritas or something.
Street tacos.
Fucking right, dude. Street tacos, margaritas. I don't give a shit. We're doing this.
Sounds great.
But this has been I'm telling you with Philly D.
Mr. Gemini.
Clickety clack effect. Check a Miss JD.
Yeah, and special guest.
Marc Sheffler.
Yeah, fam, thank you so much. We appreciate you so hard. Please come back, check us out again.
You guys enjoy it. It was good for you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And hey fam, as always, be good to yourself, be good to everyone else.
Much love.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.